Chu Qing was stunned when he heard the requirement that to practice ancient martial arts, one must castrate themselves. The reason why men cannot practice this type of martial art seemed clearer than ever. A memory surfaced. A man dressed in ancient robes practicing cultivation, drinking sorrowfully. In Chu Qing's heart arose the question, could it be that ancient martial arts truly are a dangerous path for all men? Jia Yu laughed heartily and calmly confirmed, ancient martial arts have never been meant for men. If forced to train to a high level, the practitioner must be castrated. Otherwise, they will explode and die. Jia Yu humorously suggested helping Chu Qing by contacting a hospital to ensure hygiene, making him feel even more troubled by the high price of the martial path. Chu Qing lost patience and angrily shouted. He didn't need anyone interfering in his affairs. What he needed now was a real ancient martial arts manual and a place where he could buy it. Jia Yu shook his head, refusing Chu Qing's request. He said that although many strange items could be found, it was absolutely impossible to obtain the traditional martial arts training method. The traditional martial clans in Kim Mon would rather be destroyed than reveal their secrets. Chu Qing sat thoughtfully on the chair. He realized that finding an ancient martial arts manual was extremely difficult. Part of him wondered, could it be that female martial artists feared men practicing ancient martial arts would bring disaster to the world? The phone suddenly rang, signaling that a message had just arrived. Tang Ziyan sent a message saying that the medicine package from the Tang family had been delivered. Chu Qing was delighted because the ingredients for making medicine had finally arrived, and now he could start preparing it. The night scene of Kim Mon City was brilliantly lit. Chu Qing was ready to embark on the journey of medicine making and continue searching for the long-sealed secrets of ancient martial arts. Chu Qing sat naked in meditation on the bed, in front of him a golden censer glowing brightly, emitting spiritual flames along with an ancient yin-yang diagram. He began refining the elixir. The censer's lid opened, releasing golden pills inside that contained powerful energy like sunlight. Chu Qing used his hands to control spiritual power, absorbing the essence from the censer into his body in a deeply focused meditative state. When the censer emitted the familiar black mask, Chu Qing took it and thought silently. Refining medicine is really troublesome. Luckily, with this mask, martial arts become easier. After completing the refinement, Chu Qing smiled with satisfaction at 6 Kuangyi-dan pills. This medicine increases strength by 30% for a short time, but has the side effect of causing physical overload. A girl with pink hair tied in 2 bows, wearing a dress and a green hoodie, sneaked open the door to look inside, her round eyes wide with curiosity and worry. Chu Qing, shirtless after refining medicine, calmly turned his head and smiled. "Come in, I'm done." The girl hurried into the room, still looking suspicious. "What were you doing just now?" Chu Qing replied nonchalantly. "Refining medicine." The girl was surprised. Isn't only families like the Tang clan who can refine pills?" Chu Qing teased back. "Do you think I'm lying to you?" Close-up of the girl's face, her eyes confused, mixed with sadness. "No, but now that you've finished refining the medicine, will you go home?" The pink-haired girl with 2 bows from the Tang clan gently hugged her stomach, hesitating as if holding back indescribable emotions. It seemed she wanted to say something important to Chu Qing but lacked the courage. Unable to hold back, she suddenly stepped closer and placed a loving kiss on Chu Qing's lips. At that moment, all hesitation seemed to vanish, leaving only genuine feelings between them. They embraced tightly in the soft light. Chu Qing slightly frowned, his eyes showing surprise but not refusal. The little girl leaned against his chest, feeling safe and warm spreading through her. Chu Qing chuckled softly, muttering again, as if both helpless and familiar. He seemed to fully understand the girl's sincere feelings and did not oppose this closeness. The pink-haired girl looked up, her eyes sparkling with both reproach and hope. "Do you want me to go home or not?" A question that Chu Qing could not answer immediately, as the line between emotion and reason grew increasingly blurred. Chu Qing silently thought about Chen Huahua after the recent events. In his eyes, she increasingly resembled a normal girl from the old world, simple, gentle, and sincere. He wished other girls were like her. Without waiting for another word, Chu Qing suddenly lifted Chen Huahua up with both hands, startling her. The atmosphere between them became more ambiguous and intimate than ever before. Chu Qing placed Chen Huahua down on the bed, his body pressing against hers. The pink-haired girl opened her eyes wide, confused but not resisting. Everything seemed to be slipping out of control. Chen Huahua suddenly spoke up to stop him. She reminded him that today was a dangerous time, and pregnancy could occur if they crossed the limit. Her words were frank but also full of hesitation. With a bewildered face and serious tone, Chen Huahua said she wasn't worried about herself, but feared Chu Qing would be gossiped about if they did it too soon. This made Chu Qing laugh and cry at the same time, feeling as if gender roles had been reversed. Chu Qing squinted at her and asked back with a mischievous smile, "What do you mean? Am I not big enough?" Chen Huahua blushed and stammered, completely helpless before his thick-skinned reaction. After a sleepless night of pill refining and cultivation, Chu Qing was so exhausted that he nearly staggered on his way to school. He lamented to himself that if he weren't cultivating immortality, he probably would have collapsed long ago. While walking, Chu Qing was suddenly called from behind, causing him to freeze in the midst of his tired thoughts. A classmate approached, panting, and announced, "My sister is looking for you, let me take you to her." Chu Qing curiously replied, asking why his sister didn't come to see him herself. As they walked together, the classmate, named Yi Mao, began to inquire, "If you marry my sister, what will Tang Ziyan do?" Chu Qing countered by asking if Yi Mao was speaking on behalf of his sister or if he liked Tang Ziyan himself. Yi Mao flusteredly denied and confessed that he liked Tao Yunao, asking Chu Qing to help say some good words to her. Chu Qing was surprised to learn that Yi Mao had fallen for Tao Yunao, a girl he considered overly sentimental and simple-minded. Yi Mao's feelings left him both surprised and awkward. Chu Qing offered to help Yi Mao pursue Tao Yunao on the condition that he behave more manly. Chu Qing disliked Yi Mao's overly feminine way of speaking. Yi Mao naively objected, saying everyone talks like that. Chu Qing thought to himself that in this world, behaving like a normal man is considered strange. Yi Mao began to hope, asking if following Chu Qing's advice would help him get together with Tao Yunao. Chu Qing reassured him it would definitely succeed, but inwardly joked, "If she refuses, just tie her to the bed." As they continued talking, Chu Qing's gaze suddenly shifted forward with surprise. Yi Chengxi appeared alluringly beside a sports car, holding a cup of cold drink and waiting for Chu Qing, signaling a new situation was approaching. Chu Qing was surprised to see the woman in red, Yi Chengxi, appear in the street. He asked why she was free to meet him today. Yi Chengxi smiled, handed Chu Qing a cup of milk tea, and said she just wanted to invite him for a drink. Chu Qing held the milk tea puzzled and asked, "Is that all?" Yi Chengxi's younger brother stood behind angrily because he got nothing, wondering why his sister was so biased. Yi Chengxi casually said, "No share for you, move aside, kid." Yi Mao sat sadly in a corner against the wall, muttering, "Isn't she my sister?" Meanwhile, Chu Qing drank the milk tea while confusedly thinking, "Did I do something yesterday to make Yi Chengxi angry?" Yi Chengxi smiled gently and said she had to wait in line for a long time to buy the milk tea, so she asked Chu Qing to drink a lot. Hearing this, Chu Qing trusted her without doubt and immediately took a big sip of the milk tea. Right after drinking it, Chu Qing's eyes suddenly became alert and panicked. Something unusual was happening. Yi Chengxi still wore a slight smile, leaning against the car with a mysterious look, while Chu Qing gradually sensed something strange. His mind echoed with suspicious thoughts. This girl. His body began to react strangely. The milk tea cup fell from his hand. In Chu Qing's mind, only one thought echoed. What did she put in my drink? As dizziness overwhelmed him, Chu Qing staggered and his vision blurred. He frowned warily, thinking silently, poison again. Yi Chengxi didn't give Chu Qing time to react. She forcefully pushed him into the car with a sudden, strong shove. Chu Qing's body hit the seat with a loud thud. The car door slammed shut. She stood with crossed arms, eyes cold. Nearby, Yi Mao was so shocked he gaped, unable to believe what he was witnessing. Yi Chengxi turned to her brother with a sinister smile. "It's late. Go home quickly. Don't say anything." She completely dominated with her aura and calculation. The engine roared as the car sped away through a cloud of dust, leaving Yi Mao standing stunned, unable to comprehend what had just happened. The night sky cast shadows over the brightly lit skyscraper, the place where Chu Qing suddenly woke up after being poisoned by Yi Chengxi's milk tea. Chu Qing slowly opened his eyes in the unfamiliar room, his mind still dizzy and hazy. In front of him was Yi Chengxi, dressed seductively, suddenly straddling Chu Qing, causing him to shout in shock. "What are you doing?" Chu Qing's face flushed red, both angry and panicked, unable to understand the awkward situation before him. Yi Chengxi warned sternly, "Don't move or you'll get hurt." She pressed close with determination. Without giving him time to react, Yi Chengxi suddenly kissed Chu Qing on the lips, an action that left him completely stunned. Chu Qing's eyes widened in panic as he realized everything was spiraling out of control, and he had no way out. The next morning in the soft light, Chu Qing and Yi Chengxi lay side by side under the blanket. The atmosphere was quiet, as if something special had happened between them. Chu Qing looked at Chengxi with suspicion, asking her about the 36 boyfriends she had mentioned before. His expression was full of surprise and unease, while Chengxi remained silent, not responding. Without a word, Yi Chengxi jumped out of bed. Chu Qing stayed still, his confused gaze following every move of the mysterious girl. Chengxi changed into a white blouse and lightly tossed a thick blue book towards Chu Qing. She spoke half-jokingly, emphasizing that boyfriends were not just for use in bed, but could also provide other things. Chu Qing's eyes widened in astonishment when he recognized the book's content. It was the traditional martial arts manual of the Yi family, the original Shaolin fist techniques, a precious heirloom never easily shared outside. Yi Chengxi looked straight into Chu Qing's eyes and gently said that now he belonged to her, so he could be entrusted with the family's secret. Chu Qing held her hand and smiled in response. She was his woman, she didn't need to do anything, just ask, and he would fulfill it. Yi Chengxi blushed but was no less sweet, repeating Chu Qing's words and calling him her man. Unable to contain his emotions, Chu Qing pulled Yi Chengxi close and hugged her passionately. Under the shimmering light, they shared an emotional kiss, marking a new step forward in their intimate relationship. Yi Chengxi suddenly kissed Chu Qing and transferred something into his mouth. He was stunned to realize he had been poisoned. Chu Qing held Yi Chengxi, his eyes suspicious. "What did you give me to drink?" Yi Chengxi just blushed, and before she could react, he mysteriously added, "It's something good you'll understand later." While Chu Qing studied the ancient martial arts manual, Yi Chengxi sat quietly meditating behind him. He couldn't help but admire. So the founder of the ancient martial arts system was really formidable. An illustration appeared. Women are born with mutated meridians. If they absorb too much spiritual energy, they will explode. Therefore, they use ancient martial arts to convert spiritual energy into internal power. Meanwhile, men have no safe method to absorb spiritual energy. Forcing themselves to practice ancient martial arts would be fatal. Thanks to the emergence of ancient martial arts, women seized superior power and rose to dominate the world. A majestic empress sat on the throne, surrounded by carefully armed maidservants, affirming women's supremacy in this era. Chu Qing read the ancient martial arts book and came up with the idea to modify the traditional secret techniques to help men practice without harming their bodies. While Yi Chengxi was entering meditation to cultivate, the spiritual energy around her began to fluctuate violently. Chengxi suddenly opened her eyes wide. Her pupils glowed as if activating a new layer of power. She panicked and turned to ask Chu Qing, "What exactly did you give me to drink?" "I just started training and jumped straight to the 3rd level of ancient martial arts." Chu Qing smiled smugly and calmly replied, "Just a kind of fine wine, very good for women practicing ancient martial arts." Yi Chengxi doubted the origin of the wine Chu Qing gave her. She questioned him, but he only smiled mysteriously and refused to reveal more. Unsatisfied with his answer, Yi Chengxi gritted her teeth and declared a challenge to see who was stronger after she broke through her realm. Immediately after, Yi Chengxi rushed forward at an extremely fast speed, unexpectedly attacking Chu Qing with a punch. However, the punch was easily blocked by Chu Qing. He remained calm and unshaken in the face of her new strength. Chu Qing counterattacked with a handlock move, flipping Yi Chengxi off the bed. His strength and technique completely surprised her. Yi Chengxi was suddenly pulled back by Chu Qing midair. She was astonished by his proactive and precise counterattack. Chu Qing embraced Yi Chengxi tightly after subduing her. The moment between them became silent and intimate, her eyes seemingly drawn to him. Chu Qing whispered into Chengxi's ear, praising her beauty. She blushed, her eyes sparkling with a mix of embarrassment and happiness. Yi Chengxi gently rubbed against Chu Qing's shoulder and softly asked about the mysterious wine, hinting at wanting to continue what they had just started, with the intention to tease and seduce him. Chu Qing embraced Chengxi and teased back that he had given her enough to drink already. The atmosphere between them grew even more intimate, both holding each other closely. Yi Chengxi suddenly pushed Chu Qing down onto the bed. With a playful and sharp expression, she took the initiative in their emotional confrontation. Yi Chengxi looked down at Chu Qing with determination. She declared that she would show him her endurance and enduring internal power, proudly affirming the name Yi Chengxi. Chu Qing walked wearily down the school corridor, his mind still haunted by the terrifying night with Yi Chengxi. He silently thanked himself for having time to give her the tonic wine to distract her. Otherwise, he would have gone to heaven. As Chu Qing just turned the corner, a short-haired orange girl stood with her arms crossed, leaning against the wall, as if waiting for him. The sudden appearance made him freeze. A feeling of unease rose up, and Chu Ching panicked, shouting loudly in his head. What? Again? His face changed color as if he had just encountered a great disaster. The signed sports club office appeared. Chu Ching stepped inside, facing a long, pink-haired girl sitting sternly behind the desk, her serious eyes hidden behind hair covering half her face. The story was unfolding a new development at the sports club, where Chu Ching was probably about to face another challenge or request from the mysterious pink-haired girl. Chu Ching tiredly walked down the school corridor, recalling the exchange last night with Yi Chengxi. He silently felt lucky to have distracted her with the tonic. Otherwise, he would have gone to heaven. Suddenly, Chu Ching encountered a short, orange-haired girl standing with crossed arms waiting right outside the classroom door. Her eyes were full of implication, giving him a bad feeling. Chu Ching's feeling of unease became reality. He was stunned by his reaction when he realized the familiar situation was about to happen again. Another confrontation. He entered the sports club office. Sitting behind the desk was a long, pink-haired girl in a school uniform, looking like a club leader, sternly waiting for him. With a gloomy purple aura emanating from her entire body, the pink-haired girl sharply questioned Chu Ching. "Where did you go last night, and what did you do?" Her anger was clearly revealed, making the atmosphere tense. Chu Ching leaned toward the pink-haired girl and asked directly, if they were together, would she accept being only his? The pink-haired girl hesitated. Her eyes flickered, and she admitted she couldn't do that. Her family would not allow it. Chu Ching shrugged and calmly replied that it was okay. Everyone is the same in the end. The pink-haired girl slammed her hand on the table, angrily arguing that men and women are inherently different. Did Chu Ching want to become a woman? Chu Ching responded firmly. He did not want to become a woman, he was just living true to himself. And he wanted the whole world to know the true meaning of being a man. Chu Ching leaned in close, looked straight into the pink-haired girl's eyes, and asked directly, "If we were together, would you be only mine?" The pink-haired girl hesitated, her eyes wavering, then sighed. "I can't. My family wouldn't allow that." Chu Ching immediately replied nonchalantly, "That's okay too. Everyone is like that." The pink-haired girl was indignant, speaking harshly. "Men and women are different. Or do you want to be a woman?" Chu Ching was serious, his eyes resolute. "I don't want to be a woman. I'm just living true to myself. You don't understand, but I still want to say and let the whole world know what a real man is." The purple-haired girl in the sports club office was furious to the extreme, her eyes blazing with jealousy upon learning that Chu Ching spent the night with Yi Chengxi. She couldn't control her anger, and bluntly said she really wanted to kill Yi Chengxi. Chu Ching immediately resisted, his eyes determined and full of anger. He declared he would not allow anyone to touch Yi Chengxi, clearly showing his protection for her. The purple-haired girl stood firm, but also accepted the challenge. She demanded Chu Ching give a valid reason if he wanted to stop her from acting. In a sharp tone, she set a clear condition. If Chu Ching won an arm wrestling match against her, she would spare Yi Chengxi. But if he lost, she would break both of Yi Chengxi's arms. Chu Ching looked at the furious purple-haired girl in front of him, trying to stay calm, and asked, "Is it really necessary to go this far?" Without hesitation, she slammed her hand on the table and shouted, "It is necessary." Her decisive answer and determined expression not only showed her anger but also deep hurt. For her, this was not just about winning or losing, but about pride and emotions pushed to their limit. The pink-haired girl with a ponytail, the person in charge of the sports club office, was angry upon learning that Chu Ching had been intimate with Yi Chengxi. Jealousy surged, and she bluntly declared she wanted to kill Yi Chengxi. Chu Ching did not back down. With a resolute gaze, he declared that no one was allowed to touch Yi Chengxi for any reason. Facing Chu Ching's interference, the pink-haired girl challenged, "You want to forbid me? Fine, give me a valid reason." Without waiting for Chu Ching's answer, she proposed a confrontation. If he won an arm wrestling match against her, Yi Chengxi would be safe. If he lost, she would break both of Yi Chengxi's arms. With high determination, she declared that if Chu Ching could not prove he was stronger, she would not be able to convince herself to let go of her grudge. Chu Ching accepted the challenge. Both sat at the table, preparing to start the battle of strength. The arm wrestling match began. Both their eyes shone with determination. Chu Ching was serious while she was full of killing intent. A wave of energy burst from their clasped hands. The match was fierce. Chu Ching broke out in sweat, realizing his opponent was even stronger than Yi Chengxi. In his mind appeared a terrible vision. If he lost, Yi Chengxi would be destroyed. Chu Ching walked down the school corridor, silently lamenting that he couldn't withstand Yi Chengxi's intensity. He felt lucky to have distracted her with tonic medicine. Otherwise, He would have gone to heaven since last night. Suddenly, a short-haired, orange-haired girl in a school uniform stood with her arms crossed, waiting for Chu Qing. Her gaze made him uneasy. Chu Qing was startled and shouted loudly, "Again!" His face was full of despair. Clearly, something was about to happen to him again. Chu Qing arrived at the sports club office. Inside, the purple-haired girl with a ponytail, the club leader, sat sternly behind the desk, silently waiting for him with a gloomy atmosphere enveloping the room. The cold girl asked, "Where did you go last night? What did you do?" Her voice full of suspicion and anger, a purple murderous aura spreading throughout the room, making the atmosphere extremely tense. Under the bright crescent moonlight, an apartment building appeared in the quiet night. The stillness seemed to signal an unusual night ahead. Chu Qing quietly opened the door and stepped into the house. He carried a tired face, somewhat worried after a long day full of troubles. In the living room, 3 women were drinking tea with Chu Qing's father. One of them was making excuses on Chu Qing's behalf, saying he was busy with extra classes and didn't come home. Chu Qing entered and was immediately questioned with a sharp look. He stammered out the reason that the teacher was too busy and couldn't teach today. The blonde, curly-haired woman stood up and smiled confidently. She introduced herself as Gong Yue, Chu Qing's fiancée, leaving the whole room stunned into silence. Chu Qing sternly refused the engagement declaration, telling the blonde girl that she could eat and drink comfortably, but should stop talking nonsense because he absolutely did not have a fiancée. The blonde girl remained unfazed, laughed, and revealed that she came here following an engagement letter sent by the elders, calling him Mr. Chu in a challenging manner. Chu Qing narrowed his eyes to carefully examine the letter, unable to hide his surprise and confusion at this strange situation. After reading it, he sarcastically said he didn't know who Chu Anlin, the person who signed the letter, was, and told her to find that person to marry, wishing her 100 years of happiness. Gong Yue remained calm, pointing out that even if Chu Qing denied it, his parents would surely acknowledge the engagement promise, putting him in a passive position. Chu Qing's parents shockingly revealed that the signer of the engagement contract was Chu Anlin, the head of the Chu family and his grandmother. Chu Qing was stunned to learn that the engagement originated from his own bloodline. Chu Qing was angry inside, thinking that Chu Anlin had a hold over his parents, and the woman named Gong Yue was too presumptuous to openly threaten his parents. Unable to bear it any longer, Chu Qing tore the engagement letter to pieces right in front of everyone, decisively rejecting the arranged marriage. Gong Yue smiled calmly, not angry at all. She praised Chu Qing's courage but warned that his grandmother would not easily let this go. However, she assured that because he was so handsome, she wouldn't report it to her. Chu Qing was furious, thinking that this woman deserved a lesson. Meanwhile, Gong Yue appeared dreamy, seemingly having fallen for him after their dramatic confrontation. Chu Qing angrily informed his parents that he would go out for dinner and did not want to stay home after the incident with Gong Yue. The family atmosphere became awkward. Gong Yue sweetly interjected, saying she would go with Chu Qing to nurture their relationship with her fiancé. She showed initiative in a very natural way. When only the 2 of them were left on the stairs, Gong Yue teased Chu Qing's lying ability, rating his excuse for leaving home only 2 out of 10 points. Unable to tolerate Gong Yue's arrogance any longer, Chu Qing rushed forward determined to teach her a lesson. He had been holding back his emotions for too long. Suddenly, Chu Qing forcefully threw Gong Yue far away and rolled down the stairs. The confrontation officially began with a dramatic and humorous situation. Gong Yue put on a gentle and charming expression, blaming Chu Qing for wanting to hit her since they just met. Chu Qing gave a cold smile, retorting that as soon as he knew where she was, he would act immediately. Gong Yue stood on the high stairs, head held high, proclaiming herself as the lady of the Gong family, worthy to be Chu Qing's wife. Chu Qing got angry, kicked toward Gong Yue, and shouted loudly that she should be grateful. The 2 clashed fiercely in midair. Gong Yue counterattacked with equal strength, her determined gaze showing no fear. Chu Qing grimaced in pain after the strong kick, silently thinking that Gong Yue was even more dangerous and powerful than Tang Zi. Gong Yue remained in an attacking stance, rushing forward while mocking. A handsome guy like Chu Qing scolding a girl is really out of character. Chu Qing retreated into a defensive stance, realizing that if he continued fighting this way, he would definitely lose. He quickly gathered his energy, activating a secret technique by concentrating power into his right hand, light surrounding his palm. Gong Yue did not slow down, leaping toward Chu Qing. Meanwhile, he summoned a glowing golden lotus-shaped magical weapon in his hand, preparing to counterattack. Gong Yue was surprised, eyes wide open as she saw the magical weapon in Chu Qing's hand, realizing her opponent was not as simple as she thought. Despite her astonishment, Gong Yue did not retreat. She clenched her fists tightly, her gaze resolute, ready to face off directly against the magical weapon Chu Qing had just unleashed.